Rediscovering Gita for the Modern World by Shrikant Soman. Based on essays on Gita by Sri Aurobindo. Second series, Part 1. The Synthesis of Works, Love and Knowledge. Chapter 1 of second series, The Two Natures. Continued from the previous episode 93, the structural and thematic progression of the Bhagavad Gita. Current episode 94. The intellectual problem of action in the Gita. From inaction to integral knowledge, the Gita's solution. The Divine Master and the Two Natures. This passage explores the philosophical challenges and solutions presented in the Bhagavad Gita, specifically focusing on the transition from inaction to divinely guided action. It highlights how the text introduces the concept of a divine master to overcome the paradox of a passive self. Key takeaways. Rising above the three gunas can lead to a state of inaction. The passage explains that the path of transcending ego and desire to reach the unchanging impartial self appears to leave no cause for action, presenting a philosophical problem. The Divine Master Ishvara is introduced as the solution to inaction. This Supreme Being is presented as the Master of Works, allowing a seeker to remain active in the world while being spiritually free. The Gita promises an integral, all-encompassing knowledge. To resolve the confusion about the Divine Master, the text offers a complete understanding of the Divine as the source of all works, known as Jnana and Vigyan. True knowledge unifies everything under a single divine existence. The passage notes that our limited view based on ego is a form of ignorance, and true knowledge, Vasudeva Sarvam, reveals that everything, including the world and the self, is part of that divine existence. The Gita introduces the crucial distinction between two natures. This new metaphysical idea separates the lower phenomenal nature, made of the five elements, mind, reason and ego, from the higher spiritual nature, the jiva or individual soul. The problem of inaction. The truths presented so far are just a starting point. We've seen the difference between the self and our individual being in nature. As long as we are confined by our ego, we are controlled by the three gunas. Our reason, mind, life and senses are all ruled by their unstable movements. There is no solution within this cycle. So the solution is to rise above this cycle. We must ascend beyond the nature of the gunas. We need to reach the one unchanging self and silent spirit. This is because this ascent gets us beyond the ego and desire. These are the root of all our problems. But this seems to lead directly to inaction. The unchanging self is inactive and impartial. It is equal to all things and events. So there is no instrument or cause for action beyond nature. The Divine Master of Works. The idea of the Ishvara is then introduced. This is the Divine as the Master of Works and Sacrifice. It is hinted that this Divine is even greater than the unchanging self. The key to cosmic existence lies in Him. Therefore, by rising to the Ishvara through the self, we can be spiritually free from our actions. We can still continue to work within nature. However, it's not yet clear who this Supreme Being is. He is incarnated as the Divine Teacher and Charioteer. We don't know His relationship to the self and to the individual being. It's also not clear how His will to work can be different from the will of the three gunas. If it's the same, then our soul would still be subject to the gunas. The promised freedom would then be either an illusion or incomplete. Will seems to be a part of our active nature, our power. It seems to be the force of nature, Shakti or Prakriti. Is there a higher nature than that of the three gunas? Is there a power of creation, and will different from that of ego, desire, mind, sense, reason and vital impulse? Integral knowledge. To clear up this confusion, the Gita must now give a more complete knowledge. This knowledge must be the basis for performing divine works. This can only be the complete or integral knowledge of the divine. He is the source of all works. By knowing him, the worker becomes free. He knows the free spirit from whom all works come. He participates in his freedom. This knowledge must also justify the final point of the first part of the Gita. It must prove the supremacy of bhakti, devotion. It must be the knowledge of the Supreme Lord of all creatures. The soul can offer itself only to him. This perfect self-surrender is the highest form of love and devotion. This is what the teacher promises in the opening verses of the 7th chapter. He says, "Hear how by practicing yoga with a mind attached to me, and with me as your whole basis, you shall know me fully, without any doubt." He promises to speak without omission. He will give the essential and comprehensive knowledge. Knowing this, nothing else will be left to know. The two natures. The Gita implies that the divine being is all Vasudeva Sarvam. If he is known completely, then all is known. This includes the pure self, the world, and all of nature. Nothing else is left to know, because everything is that divine existence. Our current view is not complete. It is based on our separate mind, reason, and ego. That's why our mental view of things is in ignorance. We need to move from this limited view to the true unifying knowledge. This unifying knowledge has two parts. The first is the essential Gyan. This is a direct spiritual awareness of the Supreme Being. The second is the comprehensive Vijnan. This is the deep knowledge of the principles of his existence. These include Prakriti, Purusha, and the rest. By knowing these, everything can be known in its divine origin. This integral knowledge is rare and difficult to achieve. The Gita says that among thousands of people, only one might strive for perfection. Of those who strive and achieve it, only one here and there knows him in all the principles of his existence. To begin this integral knowledge, the Gita makes a crucial distinction. It differentiates between the two natures. The first is the phenomenal, and the second is the spiritual. He says, the five elements, mind, reason, and ego, this is my eightfold divided nature. But know my other nature, which is different from this. It is the Supreme One, which becomes the Jiva, individual soul, and by which this world is sustained. This is the first new metaphysical idea of the Gita. It uses ideas from the Sankhya philosophy. But it goes beyond them. It gives a Vedantic meaning to their terms.